If you are new to my channel, thank you for visiting and for watching this video, and do like and subscribe and come back for more videos. I'll be talking all about being a digital nomad, about being a freelancer, and about the lifestyle that's involved in this line of work. Hi guys, this is your digital drifter Denea. What's the flow, everybody? For this video, I will be answering some of the most common questions about what it's really like to be a freelancer, a home-based worker, or a digital nomad. By the way, I'm from Cebu, so my native language is Bisaya. Marunong din ako mag-Tagalog, but hindi ako masyadong magaling. So for the sake of communicating my message as effectively as possible, and I also don't want to exclude anybody wherever you are in the Philippines or the world, I would like to do this video in English. So we'll be doing my other videos in English as well. Okay, first question. What is a freelancer? What is a home-based worker? What is a digital nomad? These jobs have a lot in common, but there are also tiny differences. So first, let's start with being a home-based worker. Basically, if you have a home-based job, well, you just work at home. Like, you can work in your bedroom or in your living room, or if you have a home office, you work there. As to what type of work you do, there are many types of work, but often these jobs can also be done in an office. It's just that you do them at home. So you have a home-based job. Now, if you are a digital nomad, which is what I want to be fully in the few years to come. If you're a digital nomad, basically you travel and you work as well. I really love traveling, so that's really what I wanted to do in life. But at the same time, traveling is not that cheap. So of course I need to support myself. Therefore, I need to have some work that I can take with me wherever I want to go. So that's what being a digital nomad is. You travel while you work, and vice versa. Now, freelancing is like this big umbrella that encompasses being a home-based worker and a digital nomad. So really the difference there is that being a home-based worker is you're okay with spending most of your time at home. You don't necessarily have to go out a lot. I mean, of course you can go out, you can have fun with your friends and family, but basically just imagine it, just think of it as you working in an office scenario, but your office is at home. Well, being a digital nomad is you travel and work at the same time. One question I receive a lot is, how did I become a freelancer? How did I get into this line of work? Okay, so actually, guys, I'm an undergraduate. I did not graduate from college due to personal and family reasons. So what I did was I needed to support myself. So I tried to find something that, can give me the money that I need to finance my food, shelter, and all those basic things. So my course in college was actually computer engineering. So I got exposed to computers. And at that time, computers were still a bit new here in the Philippines. Oh my God, don't ask me how old I am. But basically, computers or the internet was actually new at the time. So I'm the kind who wants to discover new things and, have an adventure. So I was like, hey, internet, what can we do here? So I'm just, I just got online and checked what jobs there are available for me. And then here comes a friend who said, hey, Denea, you like writing, right? And I said, yeah, sure. And then he said, like, I saw this web page advertising that they were looking for writers. Maybe you want to try it. I was like, oh, okay, that sounds interesting. And I did try it. I did apply. It was kind of very risky at that time because, again, the internet was new, and who knows who those people were who were advertising the job. Can they be trusted? Maybe they were just scamming me, but still I needed a job, and so I applied, and turned out that job was legit, and that's how I started being a freelancer, and that's how I became an online writer. At that time though, freelancing wasn't as popular or as well known as it is now. So the clients as well were not that many. The projects that I got were not that many. So eventually I had to find an office job. But I have already established myself as a writer. I actually enjoy writing, so that's what I wanted to do, and that's the job that I wanted to do. So I applied for an office job. They were hiring for an online writer right up my alley. This was an SEO company, so this was office based. The company was from the UK and they established an office here in Cebu, and so I applied there, and yeah, so that's where I got to hone my writing skills, my SEO writing skills. And eventually a few more years later, I decided I really wanted to travel more. Travel really makes me happy, guys. I can't help myself. In just a few months when I do not get to travel, like I feel so restless, so I really want to go somewhere. So I said to myself, I really need a job that would allow me to travel more and at the same time allow me to support myself. So I quit my office jobs, and yeah, now I guess I have been freelancing or being a digital nomad for around 2 years now, and yeah, I'm happy personally. All in all, I have been writing for the past around 10 years, I think, and I've freelanced for around 4 years early on, and then I got an office job, and then I quit that, and now it's been 2 years that I'm freelancing again. And this time around I've traveled to various places, and I can confidently call myself a digital nomad. With that said, I'm just gonna share to you all of my experiences. So other people ask me, what are the pros and what are the cons of being a digital nomad or a freelancer or a home-based worker? So one of the pros is that you are more flexible, so you don't have to go to an office from say 9 to 5, or you don't have a set schedule where you go out of the house, go to an office, and then come back. I think this is a good thing because especially in Cebu or maybe in Manila, traffic is like horrendous. So anything that can help me avoid the very stressful traffic is a very good thing for me. And then there's also the weather. So in the Philippines, it's very hot or raining and flooding. So if I don't have to go out and go to an office and deal with those things, I'm a very happy person if that's the case. So yeah, those are the pros. And another pro is that you can pursue other things. Generally, being a freelancer or a home-based worker, your job schedule is flexible. So for example, you have a hobby or you want to learn something else, then you can pencil those in your schedule along with your work because you are flexible. So for example, your employer needs 8 hours of work a day. Generally though, employers will not have you be around for like 8 hours straight. You can say do 4 hours in the morning, and then maybe in the afternoon do something else, and then continue the other 4 hours in the evening, something like that. That's generally the case, although there's also cases where you're a home-based worker but your schedule is just like an office work. So there are still freelance jobs that are 9 to 5 sort of things, but generally you will find a lot of more flexible schedules when you are being a digital nomad or working online. How about the cons? What are the cons of being a home-based worker, a freelancer, or a digital nomad? One thing that I can think about is that your sleeping pattern may be sorely disrupted. So for example, you have work to do and maybe you have other things to do also for your household or for your family or friends, or you have another activity. What you do usually, or at least what I do, is like I work on stuff like in the morning, and then I do my activity for the rest of the day, and then I do the rest of my work in the evening or late into the evening, or even up to like early dawn. So what happens then is my sleep is disrupted, and I have found myself many times unable to sleep or suffering from insomnia. So that's something that I have to struggle with, and many other freelancers or home-based workers also struggle with. And then another thing I can think of is that when it comes to social interactions, your world is really gonna be, I don't know, it's like your world's gonna feel like it's smaller. So there won't be a lot of social interactions. If you're like me, who is an introvert, I'm fine with not being able to interact with people for most of the month. I'm super fine with that. In fact, I seek to be, alone most of the time. But that's just me. If you are more of an extrovert and you want to deal with people, bounce ideas of people, and you want to, talk to a lot others, if you're used to the office chit chat or the office, a setup where you get to see other people, meet with co-workers, and be more social, then maybe freelancing or being home-based is not for you. However, if you're a digital nomad, you will have more social interactions when you travel. You get to meet strangers and make new friends, and often you'll meet a lot of people from other areas of the world as well, which I think is really fascinating. That's fascinating for me, so that's why I also enjoy being a digital nomad. Another common question that I receive is that where do you find these home-based or freelance jobs? So actually there are a lot of places where you can find these jobs. For example, in the Philippines, there's Upwork, one of the most popular freelance job sites out there, and then there's JobsDB, and there's also Online Jobs PH. And you just go to Google and then you type Online Jobs Philippines or Freelance Sites Philippines, something like that. You will find a lot of sites that offer freelancing jobs, but just be careful. Make sure to read reviews of these sites and see what other people or other freelancers think of them. Maybe some sites don't have a lot of jobs available, so there's a lot of competition maybe, or some sites don't also offer a lot of room for growth when it comes to salary. For example, I'm not sure if you've heard about Fiverr. So often the services offered in Fiverr are priced at $5. So even if your, for example, article is worth more than that, but the clients that go there expect that they will only pay around $5. So that's something you need to consider. Another question: does freelancing or home-based jobs have age limits? Okay, so we are used to dealing with age limits when it comes to the corporate world. Often companies would put up hiring notices like they're looking for male and female, 18 to 25 years old, something like that. So in the freelance or in the digital nomad world, I can say that there isn't, the age limit isn't as imposed. So if you can do the job, no matter how old you are, and if you do the job well, then you can be hired. So I've known fresh grads who've become freelancers, home-based workers, or digital nomads, but I've also known some people who are into their 50s or 60s, and they can use a computer and they know the job well, it's in their field, and they got hired as freelancers and they're enjoying their freelance life. What are the freelance jobs that you typically find online? So often you will find a lot of web related jobs for freelancers. So these are often like web designers or web programmers, anything that's related to the internet. So there's also SEO or search engine optimization. So basically these jobs involve optimizing web pages for search engines like Google. And then my job actually, which is an online writer or freelance writer, is under the SEO field as well. So I also call myself an SEO writer. So what I do is I write content for websites, and other jobs would involve like designing the website or back-end programming. So mostly you will find a lot of freelance jobs that are related to the internet or computers. But there are other options. There are freelance jobs available to accountants and marketers, for example. There are also those employers who are looking for social media managers. So basically people who manage their social media like Facebook and Instagram, post photos and other activities and reply to commenters or to anyone who's messaging those social media profiles. So you can also do that. And then there's another really popular freelance job available, which is being a virtual assistant or a VA. So as a virtual assistant, you basically have to be a very flexible person with a lot of initiative. So employers who are looking for VAs vary a lot. So there's really no standard what should a VA do. There are some VAs who are just in charge of, say, managing the schedule of the employer, reminding them of their meetings and whatnot. But there are also VAs who are required to write or manage social media and interact with other people. There are also VAs who are in charge of, say, contacting the employer's business partners or even clients. So being a VA, you need to be really flexible and be open to learning a lot of things, and especially what your employer does. Another question that often comes up when I'm speaking with my friends is that what is my typical day like how does a freelancer's day unfold basically. So for me, what I do is that I often work in the evening because my house is near the road and there's a lot of cars passing by, which is noisy, and as a writer I need more or less a quiet environment to write, to structure my thoughts on the screen of the computer. So I need quiet. That's why I work in the evening. So I'm a night owl. That's not a problem for me. It just becomes a problem when I have things to do in the day. For example, I need to go to the bank or go to some government office, then my sleeping pattern will be seriously disrupted, as I mentioned, and then there will be days after that where I cannot sleep properly and I have to regain a pattern of sleeping so that I can get enough rest. Another thing is that when there are meetings, okay, here's a secret, well, maybe not really a secret, but most freelancers, when they do meetings, is, for example, it's like this. You only see half of my body. So like I just I wear some blazer or something, put some makeup on, comb my hair. But the truth is, maybe I did not take a bath. Well, today I did. But oftentimes there are situations where freelancers or digital nomads find themselves in a meeting where really they were not, they did not, say, take a bath, or they wore a blazer and look presentable up top, but lower part maybe they were just wearing shorts or pajamas and slippers. So it's an interesting situation to be in, but as long as the meeting went well and you and your employer or whoever you were talking to understood each other, and well, basically if the meeting was productive, then that's okay, right? So that's one thing. And then another thing is that sometimes one of the struggles is that procrastination can be a problem. So if you have a lot of flexibility, that's a good thing. On one hand, that's a good thing because you can do other things or pursue other things, accomplish other things in your day. But at the same time, if your work is too flexible, you might be tempted to just watch Netflix all day, or in my case, I watch a lot of anime. So well, yeah, so we need to manage our time better, because then if we don't, then a lot of work will pile up, and that will cause a lot of stress. So yeah, and then what else? Basically, I just, wake up, eat breakfast, drink coffee, and when I'm ready to work, I just sit in front of my computer and do the work. So as a writer, I sit a lot in front of my computer, and most freelance workers or digital nomads do the same thing. And what happens then is exercise may be neglected. So that's one thing that we should all consider if we are serious about being a freelancer. Now, if I am in my digital nomad phase, or not phase, like if I am being a digital nomad, for example, I travel for like 2 weeks somewhere and then bring my work with me. What happens is that I often schedule myself. For example, I wake up early, like 5 or 6 a.m. and then I work up to like 9 or 10, and then usually at that time the attractions in places open. So I finish my work around 9 or 10, and then I go to those tourist attractions. For example, I visit a museum or I visit a temple, and then take my lunch, and then visit more attractions in the afternoon, and then I cut my sightseeing at around 3 p.m. I go back to the hotel and then do some more work. So that's basically how I do it. For those of you who are digital nomads out there and watching this, I would be very interested to know how your day unfolds as well. Do let me know in the comments below. Another common question that people ask of me is that how much do you earn as a freelancer, home-based worker, a digital nomad? How much do you make a month? Okay, so really I cannot say like a sort of exact figure, because it really varies, guys. Like, this is not me lying or anything. It varies because it depends on what kind of job you have, what kind of freelance job you have. For those of you guys who are lucky enough, there are people who are lucky enough to find an employer where they are paid on a monthly basis. So it's just like expecting a company salary of some sort. So people do experience that. And then most of the time though, freelancers would be paid on an hourly or per project basis. So in my case, as a content writer or SEO writer, I find projects that are paid by articles. So it also depends on your experience. So when I was starting out and very new to the industry, my going rate was around $5 US dollars for an article of 500 words. Now it really depends. Like, I can go from $15 or $20. Sometimes I get projects that are above that, and there are like very rare projects where it pays like $50 or more per article. So I also know other freelance writers out there who are earning even more, so they can score an article for $200. So these generally are like copywriting articles. It involves marketing as well. So yeah, it really depends on the type of project or work that you're doing. As for web developers, a lot of freelance web developers work for companies where they pay monthly. So it's like, again, it's like receiving a company or office salary. It's just that they're working at home. But there are also freelance web designers and web developers who are working on a per project basis. So for example, they design one whole website and they will charge that much amount for that. As for how much, well, unfortunately I'm not a web designer, so maybe in the future I would interview some web designers out there and then we'll know. But yeah, the answer is that it depends on the project, work or rate that you have established. Another thing that I want to say about the salary of freelancers or digital nomads is that it can be challenging to grow your worth as a freelancer. Initially, most of us really started out low. So what we do, because in these freelance sites that we use, there's a review system. So clients often would review you negatively if you did not do well at your job. But at the same time, if you price yourself very high at the start, not many clients will employ you because you don't have a history yet. They want to see a history. So what we do often is that we find lower paying jobs and then make sure we do them well, and then that way clients would review us, give us 5-star reviews, and then once our portfolios in a sense is built and our reviews are, there are more reviews on our profile, that's a time where we charge more for our services. We can then command higher price for what we do once we have those reviews, because then the client will not be hesitant to hire people with higher reviews. So what my advice is that if you are thinking of being a freelance worker or home-based worker or digital nomad today, what you can do is like transition slowly. Don't quit your office job right away. Maybe start doing freelance work on the side while you still have your office job, and once you have built up your reviews, once you have more reviews on your profile, that's a time that maybe you can quit your office job and do freelancing full time. Now, of course, we all have different journeys in life. So if you really have decided that freelancing is what you want to do and you want to quit your office job right now because, oh my God, it's stressful and you cannot take it anymore, that's no problem. There are a lot of resources out there, including this channel. So you can take advantage of all these to help you, become a more or better freelancer in a quick span of time. So yeah, just do what's best for you basically. But my advice is like transition and then find ways to gain more reviews on your freelance profile. Another question would be, are home-based jobs or is freelancing or is being a digital nomad satisfying? For me, yes, it is. I'm honestly saying it is, because I, again, really want to travel a lot, and I want to travel longer as well. I just don't want to go somewhere for like say 3 days or even 5 days. I want to spend at least 2 weeks at a destination. So being able to bring my job with me while I travel for longer and for more to other places, then I'm happy with that. I'm really happy with that. I'm so glad that we now have the internet and that I have this opportunity to be a digital nomad. I have known other people though who've tried the digital nomad or the freelancing or the home-based lifestyle or work situation, and they didn't like it because unfortunately, as I mentioned a while ago, your social interaction will be limited, and those people really want to interact with colleagues in the office. So they decided that freelancing and being home-based is not for them. So I can't blame them. That's who they are. So the good thing is they realize what's good for them, so they switch back to working at the office. But for me, if you're just asking me, then I am really happy that I am a freelancer, that I am a digital nomad. I've been able to travel Japan, the US, and other countries for longer. Last year, or late last year, I was able to travel to Fukuoka and then to Tokyo and then to Cleveland for 1 whole month, and I didn't have to ask for a leave from my employer because I was still working while I was traveling. And some people would say that if you're gonna travel, then you just travel to experience everything and to make the most out of it, and why would you work while you are also holidaying. But for me, it's not just holidaying, it's a working holiday. I still, in my own way, make the most out of those trips. I enjoyed them immensely, and at the same time I was able to support myself. I did not stop work for a month, which would make me no income for a month, and you know, I have bills to pay as well, so that would surely suffer. And so yeah, I'm happy that I was able to work and travel at the same time. What are my advice or tips for people who are aspiring to become a freelancer or a digital nomad soon? One thing I can say is that it is not easy, but it is not impossible as well. If this is something that you want to do, just make sure that you have the will to do it. There will be a lot of adjustments to make, but they are doable. And again, as I mentioned, there are many resources online that you can, you know, watch or read to help you to transition. And then just make sure that despite the flexibility that you will soon enjoy, you will still be able to manage your time wisely, and you know, just still work hard. Because no matter if you are a freelancer or working in the office, if you are slacking, you're not doing your job well, or you are disinterested from your job, and then your employer will find out, so you can get fired. It's even easier to get fired when you're a freelancer, because then there's no office setup where there's an HR that you have to go through, or you can you can ask maybe your HR, like, are you treating me fairly, or like maybe there's like dole that can help you. In the freelance world, if you're not doing your job well, your employers are often outside of the Philippines, so we don't follow like the same government rules that we have that's applicable for office jobs. So if they don't like your work and you're not doing well, then they can just, you know, let you go. So yeah, just still work hard and manage your time wisely, and at the same time find jobs that you really enjoy. So I believe personally that if you enjoy what you're doing, then you won't be as stressed. So there will still be stress, of course, but just manage them well. You can manage them well, and at the same time know that being a freelancer or digital nomad allows you to be there for your family. I know freelance moms who are really happy of their situation right now, because they can work, they can support their household, but at the same time they can watch over their kids and they can see their kids grow. Personally, I have no kids, I'm single. I love traveling, and as I said, being a freelancer or digital nomad allows me to do what I'm really passionate about. And I also love writing, so yeah, pursue your dreams, pursue what you want. There will be challenges, but you can do it. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And this channel, I'm really planning to grow this channel to be like a resource for all aspiring freelancers or digital nomads. So I'll be here to help as well. So do visit my channel often, like and subscribe. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and thank you for staying up to the end of this video. Again, let me know if there are any questions that I have not answered. Type them in the comments below, and then I'll make another video for those. And then so yeah, I hope they found this video helpful enough for you, and I hope that you are inspired as well. That if you really like to do the freelancing type of work, then I support you 100%. And thank you again for watching. Catch you on the next Digital Drift.